Okay, so I gotta talk about this one because it is boggling my damn mind. Stranger Things 3 just came out this past week. I just wrapped it up this morning. I had an absolute blast with it. I thought it was a great time. I started looking up other people's commentary on it. I started really wanting to see how other people responded to that one scene in the season in the finale that had me legitimately in tears, rolling on the floor with laughter. And I came across something interesting. A lot of people out there are having discussions, or at least making the claim that this season was just straight up social justice warrior feminist trash. And I have to just ask the question, did we watch the same damn show? What are you talking about? So I looked into it a little bit deeper, and here's the thing. There's going to be a couple spoilers, but I'm going to keep it light. Effectively speaking, after season 2 of the show, we saw that Eleven, played by Millie Bobby Brown, and Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard, got together, and this is the first summer of them being a couple and trying to live a normal teenage existence in the summer of 1985 in Hawkins, Indiana. Mike and Elle spend a lot of time together, and it's too much for Hopper, her dad. So Hopper kind of threatens Mike and tells him to stay away. So Mike then lies to Eleven in order to get away from hanging out with her, to not piss off Hopper. And then Eleven becomes friends with the other girl in the group, Max. And Max basically talks to Eleven and says, he's lying to you and you should just dump him, And Eleven ultimately does, and they spend a few episodes going back and forth. But at the end of the day, they get back together. Hey, spoiler alert, but I think at this point you guys kind of figured it out. So you might be asking yourself, where exactly in there is the feminist SJW the rhetoric, the trash? It's all about Max and the conspiring against Mike and everything else, and how she treats the boys in the season. Have you never met a 13-year-old? Were you never a 13-year-old? Do you not know the situation involving children and dating and hormones and puberty and how absolutely fundamentally crazy it is? It's insane how people react with their hormones at that age. And the show did a pretty good job of breaking down the dichotomy between both genders, right? So you've got Eleven, who is a government experiment, now a young girl who is trying to process life. She's trying to process her relationship with Mike. She clearly loves him. They clearly enjoy each other. And then, of course, when it gets a little bit weird, she doesn't know how to respond to what he says, because he didn't tell her what Hopper had said to him, how Hopper had threatened him, essentially, or scared him a little bit. And, Mike is also 13, 14, doesn't know how to respond to this. So he just kind of does what the guy says. And like the father figure says, hey, don't be around my daughter so much. So he's like, okay, I'm going to back off, man. I'm going to back off, and how many times do we know people who have done that? I know people in my real life that have done that, but then it becomes that mind game of like, well, then how do you handle this? How do you fix this? What goes on? And then you get someone like Max, who's like, not necessarily the best girlfriend in the world with Lucas. They always kind of go back and forth. They always fight each other. And then, she's applying that logic. That is not a good logic. And she learns that as time goes on, but it's like they're 13 or 14 years old. What do they know about life and love in the long run? They're processing their feelings. They're processing their emotions, right? There's a whole scene where, and this is again, spoiler territory, where Eleven spies on the guys, using her powers to spy on everyone. And what you've got is Mike talking to Lucas, and it's just like, it refers to women as a species, as a different species, and they're trying to understand it. Lucas doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Mike clearly doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, but they're trying to like figure it out using that pragmatic, logical approach of like, okay, if I understand the problem with girls, then I can solve the problem with girls. And I dare anyone out there who's not a freaking asexual incel at this point to look at that and go, oh yeah, no, I've been there, man. Like when you were a kid, you're in your own head over the situation. It always blows up to being as worse as it is. It always blows up to be bigger than it is. It happens all the time, even well into you being a young adult and an actual adult. I mean, when it comes to relationships, they're messy. Human relationships are messy. And so the show was exploring a bit of that from the aspect of, this new in-love couple hitting their first roadblock, and how are they going to go about it? The friend who's meddling, who is just trying to control it, but ultimately is wrong. and still ends up basically getting shown as being wrong, because the whole time is like she is one scene later on in the episode, or later on in the season, Max and Mike get into it over 11, where Max is trying to protect 11 from Mike because, you know, she thinks that Mike might be a bit overbearing and Mike doesn't know how to process his emotions, and he finally lets it out. He's like, look, I love her, I don't want to lose her again. So he's scared of losing her given everything the kids have gone through. He's scared of losing her, so he might have been a little bit too clingy and a little bit too controlling as a result of that. How many people do you know in your real life that do that? The answer to that is many people, because relationships are messy. They're absolutely messy. What I loved about the season was it was exploring young teenage romance, not from like the you know, pop culture, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, John Hughes shit, where at the end of the day they get together, but this is the what happens next, because every couple fights, every couple goes through problems, every couple eventually butts heads, and everyone has a damn opinion, especially when the friends get involved. When the friends get involved, who they always seem to make it worse. And we all have had moments in our life where we've gone to friends and been like, okay, I don't know what's going on with the situation. What should I do? And your friend's like, all right, man, here's what you do. And it is the worst plan on the planet, but you do it because you don't know any better. And everyone always self-agonizes over what's being said. What did they mean by that comment? What do they mean with that text? I don't understand why there are 3 Y's on hey instead of the normal 2. What does that third Y mean? Do they want me to come over for a booty call? What the hell's happening right now? I got no idea. Everyone agonizes over relationships, especially when you're a kid. When you got the hormones running through you, when you got puberty right there, right? When you're now coming into adolescence, you are trying to figure out how you feel, how your body works, and all the things in between. And you don't know the answer. So any idea seems like a good one and you grasp at whatever you can. That's what the show did really well. But of course, the people out there that are complaining that it's SJW feminist trash because of that storyline, I don't think they dated when they were teens. I honestly don't think they've ever dated. They've never been in a relationship, because there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. There's no such thing as a perfect scenario. And when it comes to love, everything gets real messy, real damn quick. And that's where it's at. I mean, the whole season of Stranger Things this time around was about love in many different ways. I thought it was a great season. I had a lot of fun with it. Looking forward to the final season when it comes out. I don't know, maybe next year or something like that. But in the meantime, if you are coming across people talking about this, look at what they say, look at the language that they're using, the words that they're saying, and then read between the lines and go, oh yeah, right. No, they've just never been in a relationship, or they are reaching so hard to try to find any little tidbit of pop culture that they can latch onto as a way to attack. Because we do live in that age right now very heavily, right? Like, remember when Anita Sarkeesian accused everything of being sexist? This is the exact same on the other side. It's called the horseshoe theory. It's the same concept. You're upset that teenagers are in a relationship and things go bad and it doesn't work out entirely. Oh, until the end when these things normally do, because it's a story. It's fictional. It doesn't exist. It's not pushing a narrative. Stop trying to cram a square peg in a round hole because you had feelings over this situation. This is more about you than it does about the entirety of what you just saw. Anyway, this ought to make some people fucking angry, and I'm okay with that. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. I'll talk to you guys later. If you made it this far, do me a favor, type in Stranger Things in the chat so I know. Toss a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.